Good morning and welcome to the Stroke of Genius show, where we're talking about those people with disabilities and their caregivers. So we're specifically thinking this morning we're going to have a conversation about me and my caregiver at the time, which was my wife Connie, and how much she provided for me during those times. You know, when I had my first surgery was the brain surgery, and I didn't know how I was going to be able to go forward. I had an IT sales job. I mean, I was an information technology salesperson that couldn't see, and I needed to go out to my customers and visit with them from time to time to check in and see how things are going, see if there were some orders that I could help them with, or whatever the case may be. So I needed to be out in front of my customers, and that's really an important part of my job, is working with people. So, and I love that part, to be able to be with people and to form relationships and to keep relationships and to grow relationships. That's what I wanted. So, when I couldn't see at all, what did I do? How could I go out and visit with customers? Well, I have a wife who is absolutely amazing. And during this time, she drove me to all of my appointments. It was absolutely amazing. She drove me to any you can pick any one of my clients. Drove me to their parking garage, or drove me to their parking lot, or drove me to right up in front of the door and said, "Here you are, Brian." And I got out. And I walked up to the door and, logged in or got there and just tried to do my job. But I could not have done that without her. She helped me with one of my key blind spots. My key blind spot, you would think, would be, I can never do anything like this again. I can never go forward and have conversations with people. It was hard for me to even write anything because I didn't know what I was writing. I didn't know where I was writing it because it was just a mess. But she helped me to see my blind spot. She helped me to see through my blind spot when she allowed me to get to my meeting place. Then it still was hard. Still was a tough road to hoe, but it made things so much easier once I actually got on site. And that for her, I mean, I can never thank her enough. This was in 2011. So 2011, when I had brain surgery, it was April 1st. And from there, I didn't want to stop working my job. So I would come downstairs every day. I would shave and shower, just to try to be back in the moment, to try to at least convince myself that I was okay. And maybe if I did all those things, and then I would be okay. And I would come downstairs and I would look at my laptop, and I could never see my laptop. So I would have to make the resolution huge on this thing. And even then, I wore an eye patch. So over this eye, because this eye was still coming open every once in a while, and I still hadn't adjusted to the double vision that I still have some in this eye. So I hadn't adjusted to that yet. So what I did is I had an eye patch that she went and got me some out of a CVS package, or CVS pharmacy, and she bought them, and then I wore them every day. So I wore them for quite a while. But after time, the adhesive would stick in my eyebrow, and they would rip my eyebrows off. So I was walking around with one brow, and that was my left brow. So it looked strange. So what I did is I stopped using them, and she bought me a patch that I could put on for the time being, and just put over my right eye to be able to help me to see. So still, I would shower and shave every day, come downstairs, look at my laptop, and try to get through email. And it was I was a hot mess. I really was. But once I got through that and started to get better, started to get some of my eyesight back, it helped a lot. But I still was battling with this other thing that I had this desire to get my eyes back to normal. I thought that I was going to get my vision back. I thought that everything was coming back. So I went to an ophthalmologist. And at the ophthalmologist, I convinced him that I just needed to move my images. So I have, if my right eye were open, I have an image up here and I have an image down here. But I convinced him, I think, that if I could move the images and have them up here and then maybe like this, so at least from a forward on gaze, my sight would be singular as opposed to double. He agreed that he could do that, and he moved the muscles around my eyeball. So I had 2 surgeries for this in 2011 where they were moving the muscles on my eyeball. So they actually pulled my eyelids back and opened up my eye, and they moved those muscles. Now, I thought it was going to work out okay, but it really didn't. And so then I said, I just feel like, if I had more light coming into my eye, I just think I would be better off. So he put into my eye what's called a frontalis sling. And a frontalis sling, it's where they put a fishing line, and they attach the fishing line to my eyebrow, to my eyelid. So if you look here closely, I don't know if you can see it much anymore, but there is a bump. And this bump is where they tied a knot in this fishing line. So when I lift my eyebrow like this, you can see my eye. But it's not good because I still see out of that eye, and I still see a different image than what this eye sees. So I don't ever do that. I keep the eye closed for the most part, especially when I'm driving, because that's certainly a time when I want to have singular vision and I want to be able to see as well as I can. So that's what I have. And it's been months and years since I've talked about all of that, because it's not a part of my speech. It's not a part of who I am. But I thought it'd be important for you to understand, what I've gone through and what I have had done for me, in terms of the caregivers that I have. Connie, oh my gosh, she's done so much for me. And it's been so helpful for me to be able to get from where I was to where I am. It took a long time, but she allowed me to be able to have that growth. So as you're being a caregiver for whomever you have with a disability or with whatever life-threatening illness they have, understand that there are certain things that they need to do on their own. You need to make sure that they do them on their own so they grow, so they get stronger, they get more confident with what they're doing. But there's also times where you just need to give it up and give them or help them with whatever it is that they need help with at the time. So that allowed me to have the growth that I have. So again, thank you to Connie for doing that. But let's see who else we have here on this morning. So there's Wes. Good morning, Wes. How are you this morning? And as always, thank you for being on. Wes is my business partner. We are 50-50 partners, and I'll tell you that I'm so glad that he is a part of what it is that I'm doing here. So, Wes brings an awful lot to the table in terms of his spirituality, his goals, his core beliefs, all that. So we align up very, very well. And he also is very technical, very patient, and one of the best guys that I think I've met over the last 3 months. So thank you, Wes, for joining. He also has to say here that about how you can join, how you can be a part of this thing called Winking with Wagner. So in this post, in this comment here, you're going to see this. So in order to win a chance at my book called A Radical Vision, you can, sometimes it does take a brain surgery, buy A Radical Vision. That's the name of my company. You can put a post or put a picture in your timeline of you winking, and you can tag me in it, Brian Wagner, and put in there Brian with one eye, put a hashtag of Brian with one eye and a hashtag of winking with Wagner or winking without Wagner. And then there's also this membership site that you can go to and sign up to get more information from us. We've got a lot going on, and we have a lot of new things that we're working on. So I want to continue to encourage you to do that. So let's talk a little bit more about the caregivers and what they did for me in order to help me get back to where I am. Now, I told you about driving me to all my meetings. That was key. So that was really the first step. And in 2011, we didn't view it as the first step. We viewed it as the next step. So we took the next best step, and we got me to my meetings. And then I started meeting with people. I remember even one of these meetings was all the way up in an hour north of town, and it was quite a chore to get up there, and it was not fun. But once we got there, there was a Dairy Queen really close, so that made it okay. We could have a Dairy Queen after we had the meeting. But all that to say that, like I said, the next step was the best step, and just take the next step. Take the next best step, and then once you at that point, then go on and go to the next one, and lean into that, and continue to do what you can do with the time you have. It's a process. People with disabilities need to be patient, but they also need to be anxious. They need to know that there's something else out there for them, and that they can do something else. So a number of people that we've had on already, with a Stroke of Genius, my good friend James, my other friend Stacy. We're gonna have other ones. Actually, another that's coming on next Friday is a gentleman by the name of Rob Oliver. He is just a treat to deal with, and a treat to talk to, and to learn from. So there's going to be so much that we can learn from him. So anyway, so what I was saying is that all these people can learn from and understand that being able to do what you can do at the time you can do it is really important. If you can do, for example, if you're in a walker and you can't get around without your walker, and that's okay. But have someone help you, maybe to push you a little bit farther than what you've gone before. It's going to help you to get better, and continue to use the walker, but do it as much as you can. Walk as much as you can in order to get your strength back. It seems simple, but just that little bit helps. And it means the world that you're going to be able to continue to do what you're doing if you continue to push yourself. Now, not every day is going to be a push yourself kind of day. Not every day is, but I'm telling you that those days that are push yourself days, you got to take advantage of. That's really important for us all to understand. I mean, oh my gosh, that goes for people with disabilities, and that goes for people without disabilities. Not every day is your push yourself kind of day, but if you can push yourself and you can get a little bit farther, maybe expand your comfort zone a little bit more, then you're going to be able to do so much more. You're going to be able to serve other people. In the people with disabilities, we are served a lot. A lot of people serve us. They take care of us. But wouldn't it be great to one day get the chance to serve them, to do something for them? That's what's happened for me. I've gotten to a point where I'm able to serve other people. Yes, part of it was because I made a promise. I made a promise 9.5 years ago that if I get my sight back, I wanted to be able to help other people. I didn't know what that meant. Well, how are you going to do that, Brian? I mean, you've got a family to provide for. I mean, you've got kids going into college. You don't have a degree in helping people, whatever that means. How are you going to do it? Well, I mean, there's lots of questions that went through my head. But once I got to a point where I could do something about that, then there was no choice. I mean, it was a promise. It was a promise that I'd made, and I had to keep it. I never want to not keep it. It's been great, and I'm just thankful that that it's all worked out the way it has. And I'm going to continue to do this, to continue to serve you, because I know that you all have servant hearts as well. And that servant heart is going to allow you to go forward. It's going to allow you to get better, and it's going to allow you to serve other people. It's great. I love it. I love to hear about your stories. So if you're listening to this live, put in a hashtag live like Wes has. And if you're listening to this in a recorded session, please put in a hashtag of replay. Also, let me know where you're calling in from. But if you would, that would be very helpful for us all here at A Radical Vision to be able to help other people and to be able to serve other people. That's a large part of what we do. So as always, I'm thankful for you being here. I'm thankful for you listening. But I just want to make sure that you continue to do what you can do with what you have, and do with what you have the best you can do. As always, I say that once, but remember, just keep one eye on the road. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.